Your time is 1:20.09.
Hello and welcome to the Netherlands' second largest city, Rotterdam, for round 4 of the Red Bull Air Race World Series. Europe's largest port and one of the busiest in the world, second only to Shanghai, has the spectacular Erasmus Bridge as the focal point for today's race. This beautiful city hosted the tour for the first time in 2005, where 700,000 spectators lined the banks of the River Maas. And 2008 promises to be even more exciting, as Rotterdam plays host to the world's finest air race pilots once again. After 3 rounds, Paul Bonhomme tops the series standings, 5 points ahead of Kirby Chambliss, Mike Mangold and Hannes Ark. Down at the bottom of the standings, Rachmanin and Glendell still searching for their first championship point. 60,000 fans lining the banks of the River Maas, and the first part of competition is the battle for the 1 championship point in the point 1 fly-off. Glendell hit the pylon for the first time in his short career on the tour, meaning that he would not pick up that 1 championship available. But it was great to see the Russian pilot, Sergei Rachmanin, picking up his first championship point in his 2nd season on the Red Bull Air Race World Series. So confirmation that 1 point goes to Rachmanin, McLean, Ivanov and Glendell, making up the last 4 places of today's competition.
I think today was a little bit easier because I correct my mistakes and time was better, yeah.
Time to take a closer look at the racetrack for today, and a pilot who was racing here in 2005 but is commentating in 2008. Frank, it's back to you.
2008 racetrack starts from the west with tailwinds. The most important thing is the angle the pilots choose between gate 1, 2 and 3, because that angle is deciding if you can go through the chicane without penalties or not. Then through gate number 5 and then standing by for the high G between 10 and 12 G's pull-up in front of the Erasmus Bridge here in Rotterdam. Now pilots fly against the wind, so that means that the ground speed will be slower, and we see the animation. It's the airplane of Mike Mangold, who did win here in 2005. In Rotterdam we are at sea level. That means we have thick air, and the thick air helps perform the propeller, the engine and the wings, and the temperatures are low, so extra thick air, so we can expect extreme good performance of the airplanes and the pilots.
Let's take a look at the lineup for the Super 8. Hannes Ark gets the action underway after picking up those 2 penalties in qualifying, but Paul Bonhomme set the track record and will go last of all.
Number 28, Hannes, you are cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Yes, mate. Smoke on. Go ahead, Hannes.
Hannes Ark is the first of the Super 8 pilots to challenge the course here in Rotterdam, brimming with confidence. Into gate 1, gate 2 is horizontal, gate 3 is the quadro, and look carefully, oh, not quite, but still a very, very brave manoeuvre for the Austrian pilot who was just a rookie last year. First half Cuban, 13.66. Remember, we're starting with a new round now of just 8 pilots. Rachmanin's time does not matter.
And as you see from the lovely helicopter view, the way back is going a bit slower than with the tailwind. So now carefully look, there's the right knife edge, angling left, steep turn, then pulling, and here is coming the maximum G, and you see the airplane shooting into the sky like a rocket, then descending again, leveling off, preparing for the quadro, a right knife edge, and there you see he made the old-fashioned maneuver, not the Cobra, and this is from the cockpit, on board, watch it, and now for the pull-up, go, and you will hear Hannes puff, puff, puff. Strain, descending, leveling off between the blue lines, poof, and then prepare for the full left aileron, full left and right again, shooting through knife edge. There we go, flick, flick through, and then it's almost over. Let's see what time he is putting on the clock.
Hannes Ark sets the pace at 1 minute 17.14. He's gone 1 minute 15.98 in training, but that's a very impressive time indeed.
17.14 seconds. First place, no penalties.
Yeah, it seems to me that Hannes has been sandbagging a little bit to make very sure that he's not making a mistake and saving everything for the important run.
Peter Begenet, currently lying fifth in the World Series rankings for 2008, hasn't won since Monument Valley in last season's tour, and this man taking his old plane, albeit souping it up a little, but he's back to the Edge 540, having left behind the Extra 300 SR. Peter Begenet, the Hungarian legend of Red Bull Air Race, takes to the track now. Can he take it away from Hannes Ark? Feeling much more settled and confident in his old plane. Just below 360 kilometers per hour as he comes for the first half Cuban now, and the green light is not there. Work to do for Begenet, 0.34 off the pace. Remember, this man has been in the top three in the World Series standings for the past 3 seasons now. Qualified in 5th position, but yet to get onto the podium this season. Has he found speed on this second pass? Up he goes again, and now he starts to make his mark. Just 0.17 off the Austrian leader, 10.6 Gs in the second half Cuban maneuver. Now this is where it needs to be absolutely spot on. Second lap, heading for the Erasmus Bridge, where he knows he has to pull the inverted maneuver, look for the green. Oh, 0.7 of a second off the pace. Good enough to go into runner-up position, but not good enough to take it away from the Austrian. Can Peter Begenet just find a little bit extra now as he heads for the line? 21 will see us the final time. Peter Begenet getting as much speed out of that X540 as he can, and he's just missed it. 1.01 off the pace puts the Hungarian legend into second position, and Hannes Ark is delighted.
This is the standings at the halfway point. Still 4 pilots to challenge, but Hannes Ark comfortably in top position with a time of 1:17.14 seconds.
Next to take to the track is Steve Jones. 2 career victories to his name, and one of those victories came in Porto, which many people say is a similar track than today's. Here's a chance for Steve Jones to get back into the top flight here. Coming in again with great speed into gate 2 horizontal. Now through the quadro, then the chicane. Almost a Cobra maneuver there, and 358 kilometers per hour through the chicane. Heading now at full speed towards the Erasmus Bridge, and he's 0.45 off the pace. Now, Steve Jones has been one of the fastest pilots through the second lap, and he'll need that speed if he's to take the lead away from Hannes Ark. Winner of the event in Porto last season in a very similar track to the one we see here in Rotterdam. Second half Cuban, and it's there, the green light, 0.35, 9.2 Gs, and Steve Jones looking to take the lead away from Hannes Ark here. Must stay concentrated. Knife edge through quadro, into the chicane once again. The speed now just dipping below 350 kilometers per hour. Look for the green light. Oh, and it's gone again. 0.2 of a second, the wrong side of the clock for Steve Jones, pulling 10.6 G-forces against the body in his third and final half Cuban. Now the British pilot heading for home. Oh, there's a judging on gate 16. We'll leave that one to the stewards, but now Jones stops the clock. Well, he's Steve Jones, it's still to be decided whether that is good enough or not. Well, no penalty for Steve Jones, and look how close he is to Hannes Ark. Just 0.09 of a second off the pace as the British pilot goes into runner-up position. Very close indeed, and I think there's more of this to come.
Second place.
Excellent, thanks. Have a nice day.
Thank you, clear to leave.
So Austria and Britain have positions 1 and 2, but here come the Americans. Mike Mangold at the temporary runway and Kirby Chambliss in the sky. The 2006 World Series champion. No victories in 2007, but won the last round of the Tour in Detroit. This, of course, is Kirby Chambliss. His first win in the last round of the Tour after 16 races. The engine heat problems of Detroit now behind him. Now, can Kirby Chambliss, the only pilot to beat Paul Bonhomme this season, do it again here in the first of the European races of the Tour, and he's looking a little high, I have to say, in the first chicane. No penalty yet, but 1.02. It's an impressive green light, but gate 4 is under investigation, Frank.
Yeah, it was clearly that Kirby is going for it. He wants to get the maximum out of it, and the Cobra was a very good maneuver. He pushed negativities, but let's see, and there we go. It did not pay off.
Now, we saw Paul Bonhomme still take the lead with the fastest time with a penalty. Can Chambliss turn the same? And look at him there, really pushing. This is very aggressive flying from Kirby, and very impressive indeed. That penalty doesn't seem to have put him off. Of course, he doesn't know just yet, but again, another very, very positive manoeuvre from Kirby going into the chicane out of Quadro. Now, watch the clock very carefully. He's still got work to do. That penalty puts him 0.81 off the pace of Hannes Ark. Looking to book himself a spot in the semi-final. He's looking to stay ahead of Steve Jones, and it's not looking good enough for the American here. Remember, the fastest 4 go through. Coming to the 21st and final gate, 1:17.14. Oh, and it's third position for Kirby Chambliss. That does not guarantee himself a spot in the semi.
But don't forget, Nick, 3 penalty points. This is a fantastic flight of Kirby Chambliss.
1 minute 17.56 seconds. 3 seconds penalty too high on gate 4. Third place.
Jones in good spirits back at the temporary runway.
So far, so good.
And the other British pilot, Paul Bonhomme, who leads the World Series standings, preparing for his challenge in this, the Super 8s, part of today's competition. Now, up in the sky is the defending champion of 2007, Mike Mangold, still searching for his first win of the season, and he needs it here if he's to keep battling it out with Paul Bonhomme. The defending champion comes into the course now, and Mangold, who won here in 2005, looking to relive those memories. It's a very impressive start for the American, who's won this title twice in his career to date and already has the green light. 0.22 of a second faster than Hannes Ark as he comes back down through the course once again. The Erasmus Bridge just in the backdrop now. Into that chicane. Quadro this time right knife edge. And gate 11 sees us upon the second half cubit, and again very impressive here from Mike Mangold. 0.21 of a second ahead of Hannes Ark, but he must stay penalty free.
Well, my concern is not so the penalties, it's more the straight and level speed, so let's see what's going to happen.
On the podium from 2 out of 3 races, but his worst result of the season came in the last round in Detroit, and it's not there for Mike Mangold. This is a huge surprise. 0.68 of a second off the pace, and that will not be good enough for the semi-finals. Mangold really does need to go now. Presuming that Paul Bonhomme can have a clean run, Mangold is in trouble. He must push for the gate. Now, 1:17.14 is the target. Mike Mangold stops the clock at 1:17.83, goes into 4th position, and Mangold could be out of the semis.
Number 1, Mike. 1 minute 17.83 seconds. 4th place.
Okay, number 1, Mike. Thank you.
And you're clear to leave. Thanks, Mike.
The current tour leader and the man that has won 2 out of 3 events so far this season, of course, it is the British ace, Paul Bonhomme. Set the track record here at 1 minute 14.79 seconds earlier this week. He was runner-up to Mike Mangold in this competition of 2005. No, he was not. He was 7th, and he only just beat the gentleman sitting next to me in the commentary box back in 2005. But Paul Bonhomme needs to demonstrate one of those smooth, clean performances here as the tour leader. Doesn't go for the Cobra manoeuvre, looking to keep it clean. We've already seen a huge upset with Mike Mangold. Paul Bonhomme needs to remain that ice-cool, calm cookie that he's shown us all season long. First green light is there coming out of the half cubit. 0.64 of a second, faster than Hannes Ark at this point.
Yeah, wait, tell what they have been doing on the engine. but it was clearly visible that they are using new spats on the wheels to reduce drag, and so everybody is working with that. And what you see here the Fox is loose again, 2 seconds 18. So this is very promising for Paul Bonhomme.
And he's pulled over 11 Gs on both of his half Cubans. That's an indication of the amount of speed that Paul Bonhomme is carrying with him. This is the third and final half Cuban at the Erasmus Bridge for the last time now. 2.62. Just got to keep it penalty free. And Paul Bonhomme will not only be the fastest in the Super 8, but set himself up as hot favourite for another win.
Yeah. And now we're going to the Quadro, where he scored penalty points before. He overrode, but now he does much better. And what is happening here? Here we see a fantastic score.
1:14.61 for Paul Bonhomme, 2.53 seconds faster. And if he can keep up this kind of form, this man will take some beating here in Rotterdam.
Number 2 Paul, 1 minute 14.61 seconds, first place.
Paul Bonhomme continues to set the new track record here in Rotterdam. A brilliant performance. So the standings after the Super 8C, 4 go through to the semi-finals. Paul Bonhomme, Hannes Ark, Steve Jones and Kirby Chambliss. The big story for the first time this season, no Mike Mangold in the semi-finals. The semi-final lineup gives a repeat of the Detroit final in the first semi. That's Paul Bonhomme up against Kirby Chambliss, and Hannes Ark goes up against Steve Jones. 3 Europeans and 1 American battle it out for those final positions. So 4 pilots still remain. The big stories here, of course, Mike Mangold not making the semi-finals. Let's take a look at the stats with Chambliss and Bonhomme. Well, they have fought at 2 head-to-heads in their career, 1 each head-to-head in the 2008 season. And, of course, World Series rank 2 for Chambliss, World Series rank 1 for Paul Bonhomme. And if Paul Bonhomme wins here, he will equal Kirby Chambliss in career victories. So Paul Bonhomme had great reason, if nothing else, to take a revenge from the last round of the Tour, where Kirby Chambliss got the better of Paul Bonhomme. Now, Bonhomme was the fastest in the Super 8, so Kirby goes first. Those are his 2 times, qualifying 1:21.66, and earlier today in the Super 8s, 1:17.56. I'm not sure that they'll go much faster than that as the weather and light conditions continue to deteriorate, but nonetheless, Kirby Chambliss looking to knock out Paul Bonhomme for the 2nd time this season. Runner-up in Dubai, 3rd in San Diego, and winner in Detroit. Here comes Kirby Chambliss now into gate 1. And remember, it's all the speed and all the action going through Quadro, which is gate 3, chicane 4, and there is the Cobra maneuver at 366 kilometers per hour for Kirby Chambliss. Now, let's see the target time. He sets 13 seconds at the first half Cuban and 11.3 Gs. You're absolutely right, Frank. Kirby's putting everything on the line here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything or nothing. And it would be fantastic for Kirby to reproduce his Detroit victory, and he's going for it.
Second half, you look at the face there, look at the pressure, all those Gs, or 11.1 of those Gs put against the American as he heads back down to the Erasmus Bridge once again. Hitting a speed this time through the chicane for the 2nd time, 335 kilometers per hour. Watch that G-force again. And again, 11 Gs heading home now and looking to set the mark and looking to set the time for Paul Bonhomme to better.
But look at his tail camera, raindrops, that means there's rain on the airfoil and the plane will stall earlier.
And stopping the clock, Kirby Chambliss, 1:14.95. Well, again, another impressive time from the American.
Kirby, you're cleared in the whole tree.
1:14.95, just over 3/10 of a second off Paul Bonhamme's record. Now Paul Bonhomme, 1:20.71, and in the Super 8s set the track record once again at 1:14.61. If he can repeat that time, it will be good enough to go through to the final. On board with the British ace coming into the opening gate.
And you see here he decides which angle he's going to use to be as quick as possible at the first 3 gates, because that's the decision moment in this racetrack in Rotterdam.
Very smooth but fast maneuvers from Bonhomme. comes to the Erasmus Bridge for the first time. 13 seconds is the target, and he has work to do. Just under 0.2 of a second off the pace, pulling 11.1 Gs. Bonham needs to step it up a bit, Frank.
Well, and it has to do with the fast way he was rolling. Then you, of course, aileron drag, and that's what Kirby is not doing. So the Cobra maneuver definitely worked for Kirby in this heat.
Now, the second split time is vital for Bonham if he's to progress, and still the British pilot and the current tour leader has work to do. He's 0.36 of a second off Kirby Chambliss. Again, left through the Quadro, the rain continues to fall, but there doesn't seem to be much difference in the conditions for the two semi-finalists here. Now 53.61, is he finding time? Now Paul Bonham starts to make his mark and gets the green light for the first time in his semi-final clash with Kirby Chambliss. Chicane for the last time, again on board into the Quadro, right knife edge, and now he's heading for home. Kirby has set the pace at 1:14.95, has Bonham done enough? He goes through to the final, getting the better of the American by 0.6, and that is a revenge for Detroit, Frank, I feel.
Number 4 Kirby, 1 minute 14.95 seconds, no penalties. Number 2 Paul, 1 minute 14.35 seconds, no penalties, and Paul is the winner of this heat.
Well played, Kirby. You have been going there for a bit. Good job, Bob.
And you both
And
get
Frank, he had to set a new track record to get rid of Kirby Chambliss in his semi-final.
And this is what we expected. Paul Bonham giving everything in this race against Kirby Chambliss. He didn't want to repeat what happened in Detroit. And you see Wade Hammond is very happy. And as we see in the slow-mo, especially here in the sector times, he has been faster the first 2 laps for Chambliss, but then Bonham was much faster in sector 3 and sector 4. And in the analysis, it's quite clear. In the beginning, Kirby is slightly faster, 1/2, and when the airplanes are flying straight and level, you can see Bonham overtaking Kirby Chambliss.
Let's take a look at the head-to-head stats. Well, they've never met before. World Series ranking 8th for Steve Jones, 4th for Hannes Ark, clearly having the better season, but, well, experience on the side of Steve Jones with 2 career victories. But this season, Hannes Ark has been the man of the tour so far, reaching 4 semi-finals. So very, very interesting to see whether experience or courage and confidence will take this semi-final.
And what's very important to realize that the wind is picking up and then it's dying down a little bit. It's there's some rain coming, and that can be of the greatest effect. I mean, we are talking about hundredths of seconds.
Number 19 Steve, you are cleared into the track, smoke on.
Into the track, smoke on, 19.
Steve Jones coming into his challenge now. That British racing green edge 540 into the Quadro. Left knife edge, not quite the Cobra maneuver, but good speed, very clean. Now heading right to the Erasmus Bridge at 362 kilometers per hour. First half Cuban. 14.11 is his first split time, 10.7 Gs. Frank, we saw Steve Jones win in Porto, a similar course to this. Do you think that's what's giving him the confidence here today?
Oh, definitely, and he worked on his airplane, and his airplane is much faster. But as you know, there are quite a few pilots who have been working very hard and investing a lot of money in improvements of their racing machines.
Now, in the sector times of the Super 8 and the qualifying round, Steve Jones has been very fast towards the end of his challenge, just like Paul Bonham was to book himself a spot in the final. 56.65 now as he starts to head home. 9.4 Gs off the third and final half Cuban. Now must keep it clean and penalty-free. There is no room at this final level for 3-second penalties. Heading for home, right knife edge through the final Quadro, and now he starts to go for the line and set the pace and the target for Hannes Ark to beat, and it is 1:18.45. That's not as quick as his Super 8 performance.
Number 19 Steve, you're cleared in the whole tree.
In the whole 3, 19 spin.
Target time for Hannes to book himself a spot in the final is 1:18:45.
Number 28, Hannes, you are cleared into the track. Smoke on.
1:17:14, his fastest time.
The new canopy has been the talk of the tarmac here for Hannes Ark. It's giving him a little bit of extra speed. It's giving him a lot of confidence. Now let's see if that confidence can take the Austrian through to the final and join Paul Bonhomme. 1:18:45 is all he needs to better. Now watch for the Cobra manoeuvre. Knife edge through the Quadro. Not for the first time here. He didn't demonstrate it. So again, looking for a clean round, but high speeds, 372 kilometers per hour, and already the green light for Hannes Ark, over half a second quicker than Steve Jones through the first pass. Again, that canopy giving him that speed that's needed. And keeping it very clean here, 35.17. It's another green light for Hannes Ark. Now 1.32. So he's just got to stay penalty-free. 11 Gs on the second inverted manoeuvre. And Hannes Ark now really is looking very strong indeed and looking comfortable to go up against Paul Bonhomme in the final. 56.65 is the next target. Oh yes, this is wonderful. This is the transformation of this Austrian pilot. A season ago a rookie, but slowly but surely becoming one of the real major players in the 2008 Tour. He's on his way to the final, surely now. Right knife edge through the Quadro, horizontal through the penultimate gate, and Hannes Ark has seen off Steve Jones and will go up against Paul Bonhomme. 4.04 seconds and a personal best en route to the finale.
Number 19, Steve, 1:18:45 seconds, 0 penalties. Number 28, Hannes, 1:14.41 seconds, 0 penalties. And Hannes, you're the winner of this heat.
16. Wow. Very well done, Hannes. Great job.
And both of you are clear to leave. Thank you.
Yeah, with less than half of the experience of Steve Jones, you can see Hannes Ark was faster and not a little bit at all sectors. And in the analysis, it's quite simple to see, and as I predicted, this race will be won in the first 10 seconds because the angle Steve Jones chose was definitely not a good angle, and here he definitely lost the battle against Hannes Ark.
I thought I'd done a pretty reasonable run, but not good enough, and 1:14 I think Hannes did. There's no way I don't think I could have beaten, well, I couldn't have beaten that, I don't think, but we'll see if I can get Kirby to make a mistake.
So Paul Bonhomme meets Hannes Ark just as he did in Abu Dhabi. The big question is, can this time Hannes Ark, the Austrian Supremo, reverse the form from round one of the Tour?
I mean, there's not a big game plan. It's just full throttle, as Paul will do the same. I went already now what I could do. I did some small mistakes, so maybe I can do even faster time. We'll see how strong I am in my mind.
Yeah, and the weather is deteriorating a little bit, and that means that the airplanes will stall easier. It's like slipping with cars, and of course the exploding rain against the canopy will make the visibility worse for the pilots, so it's not getting better.
Steve Jones goes up against Kirby Chambliss. This is the third and fourth position. Valuable points on the table. Can Steve Jones get the better of the American? 1:18:45 was his time in the last round. He's got to go quicker. The quickest he's been all day. No matter what the outcome, this is the best result for Steve Jones so far this season. But can he raise his game when it's needed most? Chicane for the first time, 370 kilometers per hour, just below. That is just below 230 miles per hour for the British pilot. 13.45 seconds and 11.1 Gs in the first half Cuban. Coming back down the course the same way now, flying away from the Erasmus Bridge. Setting the time as he comes out of the first lap, with the half Cuban returning back into the second. 9.2 Gs. This is where it must be clean. You must stay penalty-free. Now you see the speed dropping down to 333, but up to 343 through the chicane. And that British racing green plane of Steve Jones, so easily recognisable. 10 Gs put upon the forces, put upon the body. Now he's heading home. Steve Jones, chicane for the last time as we're on board with the British pilots. Quadro right, knife edge, horizontal through the penultimate gate. Oh, there's a judging on gate 17. And that could definitely be a nightmare for Steve Jones. Watched very carefully indeed by the judges.
Number 19, Steve, you're cleared in the hole 3.
In the hole 3, okay.
And no penalty. It's a personal best time. So good to see Steve Jones back in the chase. This will be his best result. Will it be fourth or will it be third? Now let's see how the 2006 Red Bull Air Race World Series champion answers to that. He's easily gone better than that 1:16 set by Steve Jones. And he was defeated by Paul Bonham in the semi-final, picking up 1:14.95. The winner of the last round of the Tour in Detroit. And, of course, for Kirby, lying second in the standings. Now 21 points, and he would love to make it 28 points by taking third position and scoring 7 here right now. 1:16 is the target time set by Steve Jones. Frank, on paper, this should be Kirby's for the taking, but he must remain penalty-free.
Yeah, but I'm going to put my money on Kirby.
I totally agree. Watch carefully now, in through the Quadro, and goes for that Cobra manoeuvre that seen him, or saw him go so fast in his semi-final. It's a great start from Kirby Chambliss, and he has the advantage already. 0.2 of a second, the green light, and faster than Steve Jones. 11.1 Gs in the first of his half-Cuban manoeuvres. Using all of that experience, this man has won 7 times on the Tour to date. And the second split time. Oh, this is a surprise. 0.42. What happened there? 11.2 Gs off the pace. Nobody expected that, Frank.
No, it's a surprise. Let's see what's happening. Very exciting. And they are judging gate 11.
Well, a lapse in concentration, mechanical problems, we are not sure, but this is not the Kirby Chambliss that we saw in the semi-finals and not the Kirby that we saw in qualifying. There is no penalty on gate 11, and he has the green light. He's back on track for third position. Just needs to stay clean once again. No question, he's been flying right on the edge, but the American looking to keep the USA on the podium here in Rotterdam. Has he done enough to deny Steve Jones? Yes, he has. Oh, no! He's missed it. 0.03 of a second separates third and fourth. One of the closest margins we have ever seen.
Number 19, Steve, 1:16.00 seconds, no penalties. Number 4, Kirby, 1:16.03 seconds, no penalties. And Steve is the winner of this heat.
Excellent. That's absolutely fantastic. Well done, Kirby. Good job, Steve.
Frank, we can see the pictures here that Kirby Chambliss is in serious pain with his neck.
Yeah, he is definitely a victim of the high G forces. I think roughly 12 Gs, which means 120 kilos have to be supported by your neck muscles, and that goes wrong as we see here. And you cannot imagine how much that hurts. Look in slow-mo. This man will need serious physiotherapy the next couple of weeks.
Kirby, can I just ask, you seem in a lot of pain there with your neck. How is it?
A lot of pain.
Is that through the Cuban?
Yeah. I just snapped my neck bad, so it was just, and I lightened up because I had to get my head back up, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, and it's not only a technical problem for your neck, a physical problem, but it's also your concentration is going down because you are in pain, and that's probably the reason he lost it just by a fraction at the end of the race against Steve Jones.
this is Hannes Ark and that wonderful new canopy, space-age design that he's been working on for 4 months, and he goes up against Paul Bonham in the last rounds of the day. It's a repeat of the final from round 1 of the tour in Abu Dhabi, and many of you will remember Paul Bonham comfortably getting the better of Hannes Ark there. Can the Austrian claim his first career win here in Rotterdam and on round 4 of the tour? It will be very interesting indeed, but has he got the psychological strength to deny Paul Bonham? The head-to-head, well, Bonham takes 2-0. Head-to-head in 2008, 2-0. And of course, World Series ranking #1 for Bonham against #4 for Hannes Ark. Once again, the odds are stacked in favour of Paul Bonham and against Hannes Ark. Has the Austrian got the composure? He's been playing, some say, psychological games all week here in Rotterdam with this new canopy. Now, can he keep his bottle and can he put the pressure on Paul Bonham?
Number 28, Hannes, you are cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Smoke on to it, Hannes.
So Hannes Ark looking very, very focused indeed. Absolute concentration from this Austrian pilot. This is his chance to climb to the highest point on the podium and put the pressure on Paul Bonham. Again, electrifying speed for Hannes Ark. This is where it all matters. Into the quadro with the knife edge, now into the chicane. Oh, and he's too straight. Way too tight with the angles. Blasts right through the second gate of the chicane, and it's all over. Surely there's the 10-second penalty as Hannes Ark decides not to finish his run, and surely now, Frank, this final has been handed to Paul Bonham once again.
Yeah, this is a dramatic finish of this finals, because as we noticed, Hannes Ark was trying to put the pressure on Paul Bonham, but the thing is, can the young man put the pressure on Paul Bonham? And here we saw clearly, no. He couldn't, because he cracked.
He was trying too hard, looking for too tight a line, and basically looking for too much speed. Here we see it again, Frank.
Yeah, as we forecasted, it's the angle and the gate 1, 2, 3 making possible or impossible, like we see here, come in. The angle was not correct, the speed was too high, so Hannes Ark cracked.
Very disappointing for Hannes Ark. He hasn't hit a pylon since San Diego in last year's World Series. But interesting to see here, Frank, as we study this slow-mo, a lot of debris on the plane after the hit.
Yeah, and that's making it virtually impossible to continue a safe race. So you have to pull up and try to get rid of the cloth, because the airplane will stall earlier. You can see it's hanging over there on his spade. Sometimes the stick gets ripped out of your hand.
Well, I did not finish for Hannes Ark. Disappointment for the Austrian. Paul Bonham now just needs to stay concentrated and coast home for his 3rd win of the season. He's got faster and faster throughout the day. It couldn't get much easier, but he can afford no mistakes. Quite a unique situation Paul Bonham finds himself in. Frank, what would you do if you were out there right now?
I would switch on my classical music in my iPod and gently listen to the nice, relaxing music and go for it. But still, he's going fast.
Well, you've got Paul Bonham out there. He's broke the record, the track record twice today. And again, possibly not at full speed, but still looking to put on a good show for the crowds here. Over 50,000 spectators lining the bank of the River Maas. And this is Paul Bonham right on track. So far, so good. Looking for victory #3 from 4 rounds of the Red Bull Air Race World Series. And as we said earlier, his 7th career victory, tying with Kirby Chambliss as their 2nd most successful winner of the Red Bull Air Race World Series. 9.3 Gs in the second half, Cuban, coming back down into the quadro once again. Quadro into chicane, I should say, 347 kilometers per hour. And Frank, surely it's there now. He's done enough. No disqualification, and Paul Bonham is now doing as you told him, taking it nice and easy, clean and smooth to take the victory. Out of chicane, quadro, horizontal through the penultimate gate. That's gate 20. 21 stops the clock, and it's 1:17.25. And round 4 of the Red Bull Air Race World Series has gone to Paul Bonham. He extends his lead at the top of the standings, and it's his 7th career victory, his 3rd this season.
Number 2 pole, 1 minute 17.25 seconds, 0 penalties, and you're the winner of the Red Bull Air Race in Rotterdam 2008.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Wade for all your hard work, Wade. And this is for Laura and Charlie who are watching today.
Congratulations from the tower, Paul.
A smooth run, and he did what he had to do. But it also had a risk, because if the concentration goes down too much, that means it's easy to make a mistake. And for instance, if he would hit a pylon 1, 2 or 3, Hannes would have won. And here you can see Hannes coming in with a lot of fabric, and even you can see the gate cutter didn't work properly because still a lot of material hanging on his spade.
Well, Paul Bonhomme comes into the temporary runway, and the celebrations will begin as the British pilot claims his 3rd win of the season. Confirmation with Hannes Ark in runner-up spot, Steve Jones, Chambliss taking 4th position, Mangold, Begenet, Goulian and Lamb down in 8th. Sergei Rachmanin scores his first championship point in 9th, McLean, Ivanov and Glendell in 12th.
Paul Bonhomme, did you win that or did Hannes lose it?
No, I think Hannes lost it, didn't he? I watched him dive in, and it was clear that he had got a bit of smash on, as they say. And I watched him draw an absolutely dead straight line between the start and the finish of the course. And I thought, well, if he gets away with that, he's won it. But he didn't get away with it. So that was that. So I have to say, very hard work for me to then try and fly through the course sensibly.
Actually, I was just pushing harder than in the previous run just to get pole. I mean, you have to push out there, otherwise you're behind. So that's what I did. It didn't work. I flew directly to this quattro gate and then had no chance to get into the chicane.
The story of the final from Hannes Ark, but he still claims a very valuable 8-point score in the chase for the title. This man has taken 9, his 3rd win of the season, 7th of his career. Paul Bonhomme climbs to the top of the podium once again. Steve Jones 3rd and Hannes Ark in 2nd position. Frank, all Europeans on the podium this week.
Yeah, and no Americans like in Detroit, and Lord Mayor Ivo Opstelten is handing over the prizes, and he's been the man making it possible to get to Rotterdam again.
60,000 spectators have enjoyed every moment of round 4 of the Red Bull Air Race World Series, as Paul Bonhomme delighted to be back to his winning ways after his defeat in round 3 from Kirby Chambliss. And here's the confirmation of Paul Bonhamme's hard work. 6 points clear of Hannes Ark, 8 points clear of Kirby Chambliss, and 9 points clear of the defending champion, Mike Mangold. Paul Bonhomme is starting to run away with the World Series for 2008. A point for Rachmanin in 11th, and Glendell down in 12th. A brilliant round here in Rotterdam as the tour stays in Europe. Frank Verstegen and Nick Fellows are heading off to London, and we'll be there on August the 3rd. It's goodbye for now.
Number 1.